Mad Max 2 is directed by George Miller and stars Mel Gibson as Max Rokitansky. In the post-apocalyptic Australian wasteland, a cynical drifter agrees to help a small gasoline-rich community get rid of a horde of bandits. If you saw my review for the first Mad Max film, you would know that I really enjoyed that film a whole lot. I thought it was a great character study of Max Rokitansky with some very visceral action sequences on a budget of $350 million, that would be too much for its time, $350,000. It was amazing that they were able to pull off such incredible action at that last third of the film. If you've seen my review for the first Mad Max film, you know that I really enjoyed that film. I thought the action in that, while very sparring, whatever action was there, I thought was incredible for the budget that they have, which was $350,000. That's like the budget of Halloween 1978. This movie is like a bigger budgeted film. It had like $2.5 million put into it. So George Miller had a lot more to work with, and my goodness, he really pulled out all the stops on this one, because Mad Max 2 is just everything that the first film did really right, but better. The action, even more visceral. The world building, even explored further here, as we see certain fractions of the wasteland at war with one another. We understand and learn about how this world came to the brink of collapse, and now every single person is out for themselves or in small groups, and we see that explored within this conflict. And Max Rokitansky is the one person who's witnessing all of this and is conflicted himself. He is a guy that just wants to be left alone with his dog as they drive through the wasteland, searching for gas, hunting, and fighting bad guys. But once he comes across this group of people that take him in, he wants to get out of this situation that they're in, because he made a deal with these guys, with one of them. But unfortunately, the person he made the deal with died once he arrived at their village, and so he's now kept as a prisoner. The only way out of this is that if he makes a deal with them, he helps them out a little bit and is able to get gasoline in his car and drive off. And so he is forced into this conflict, really. But the more time he spends with these people, the more he starts to form a deep connection with them. Maybe not a whole lot of connection, but to this boy that is always falling around, he does so. He brings a bit of light and hope to his life in such a barren wasteland, in which this tyrannical ruler is out killing these people one after the other. Speaking of which, Lord Humongous in this film is an incredibly fun villain. He is Bane jacked up in even more steroids, mixed in with Jason Voorhees in a gimp suit. If that doesn't scream best villain character design of all time, I don't know what will. But he is a force to be reckoned with. He is intimidating. He is strong. He is terrifying when he needs to be, and poses a genuine threat to these characters. He's not deep. He is not someone that is relatable or you had a tragic backstory. No. He's just a total asshole, and he is out for these people's gas. And I love the way that he's also able to, in a way, convince some of them that he's able to keep his word. When everything we see from his henchmen that follow him shows that this guy is ruthless, these people are crazy and are not to be trusted. But Humongous himself has a way of carrying himself that in a way you might believe him for a split second. But everything else around him visually and his mannerisms and actions showcase a darker side to him that is just out there for everyone to see, and he is so entertaining, which then leads us into the action sequences in which this conflict comes to a head. And my goodness, the action here, as I said before, is even better than the first film. It is incredible, the stunts they were able to pull off, the practical effects, the road kills, the gunplay, just everything about it, especially in the last third when it becomes an 80s retro version of Fury Road. It was just everything I want to see in a Mad Max film. And Mel Gibson in this role once again is absolutely fantastic. He is so good as his character. He doesn't speak much, but that is who Max Rockatansky is. He's a man of few words and only speaks whenever he really needs to. He is so good at conveying emotion with his eyes, with his mannerisms, but in the action sequences, he is great as well and does a lot of cool stunts himself. While not as much as some of the other people around him that are on top of cars, jumping from car to car, as he's the one driving this tanker, he is still really intense in this scene. And I was always concerned as to how they would get out of these situations alive, because he does get his ass kicked many times in this film, which adds a sense of tension and grittiness to the battle. It feels real, it feels raw, and it's also due to the practical effects being used here in the real stunts being performed, the practical car crashes and giant explosions. Because it was the 80s, it was all real, and it's stuff like this that will always hold up compared to a lot of movies today. I even watched Furiosa the other day, and while I really enjoyed that film, I think some of those effects are going to date pretty poorly compared to Fury Road, but especially these older Mad Max films. These movies are going to look good even beyond this year and forwards. This film is incredible to look at. The action, while not as good as the Fury Road, as that movie is basically this but perfected with modern technology for what they were able to work with back then, in the budget that they had, in the stunts performed as well. Just everything still looks absolutely incredible. Overall, Road Warrior is a great Mad Max film and a definite improvement upon the first, which I also still enjoy. My only problem is that a lot of times in the action, you can tell whenever something is sped up, and it is always something that took me out of the film. But it was never that big of a problem. A lot of the side characters are really fun, but not the most memorable to me. Like, there are some people in this little gas town community that don't really register as real characters to me, even though they have poignant moments themselves. But they're this really fun side character that flies a little man-made helicopter of sorts, and he is very fun to watch. Overall, those are like my only real nitpicks of the film that are there, but they don't detract from the entire experience. Mad Max 2 is a great action film, and I'm gonna give it an A. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment, and I will see you guys next time.